2005, and the nation's capital embraced it with open arms. 10 years later, the Nats have ascended to the top. 2 division titles in 3 years, and the odds-on favorite to win it all this year. That quest begins today with Max Scherzer on the mound. The Nats hosting the Mets. It's opening day at Nationals Park.
Can't wait to get north. Can't wait to get north. That's all we've heard for the last couple of weeks. So here we are. Cherry blossoms about to come out. Clear skies. Great fans. Great ballpark. The Nets, the Mets, and the Nats. And it'll be a lot of fun here at the ballpark today. Bob and FP, welcome to the 2015 regular season. I know as a player and as a former player now, probably still have a few butterflies, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're always excited for opening day. It's the greatest day of the year. And when you look at the weather today here in the nation's capital, 75 degrees and sunny. We're used to freezing. We actually have the fans on up here in the booth. So, yeah, we're pumped to say the least.
Yeah, we usually have the windows closed up here for the first game of the season. I don't know about the rest of the week, but this week, at least today, certainly worthy of baseball weather-wise. Max Scherzer makes his Nationals debut today. Can't wait to see him out there between the lines. Flashes of it in spring training, but he's the kind of guy you just relish when you get to watch him every fifth day.
Well, he's relishing this situation. You saw that graphic right there. 2013 AL Cy Young Award winner was passed up last year in Detroit for Justin Verlander, so this is his first opening day start. And regardless if he just says it's 1 out of 162, it's a tremendous honor for anybody to have an opening day start. This is Bartolo Colon's 7th and Max Scherzer's 1st.
It's also an honor for some guys who didn't know if they'd even have a job to be in a major league uniform on opening day. I'm thinking of Clint Robinson, one of the guys on the list who makes the ball club. He had never even made it to the final weekend of spring training in a big league camp before. And FP, there are some good established names on that list.
Well, the names you're looking at right now are going to have to pick up the load with all the injuries. You remember the sneaky story of the 2014 season was how good the bench did. It kind of treaded water till everybody got healthy. So the names you're seeing right there, Matt Williams, Mike Rizzo, expecting a lot out of those guys. When you talk about trying to do what you want to do is the ultimate goal in 2015.
Another sidebar story of this ball club with Anthony Rendon hurt. Yunel Escobar really goes to third base for the first time in his career. We know what an athlete it is. We know how sure-handed he is. Third base, not an easy transition for anybody. So we are ready. It is opening week. Today is opening day. Yeah, happy 10th anniversary. And Jason Worth may be back in the lineup sometime soon. Ryan Zimmerman, Matt Williams, they're all here. It could be a little mad at the ballpark today. A beautiful flyover. Mets, Nats, next.
Well, Matt Scherzer doing the media and the pitching thing today. Thanks, Max. Can't wait to see a step between the lines in a few moments. The Nationals are starting to take the field here on a picture-perfect opening day in our nation's capital. The Nationals are 4-6 all-time in season openers, but they've won their last 3 in a row. 2 years ago at Wrigley Field. Actually, 3 years ago now. 2 years right here with Harper hitting a couple of homers to beat the Marlins, and then last year up in New York against these New York Mets. Beautiful skies. Going to be a little breezier as the evening gets upon us in a couple of hours, but it's 75 right now, and those winds are whipping up. Ballpark might not play that big today. They're going out a little bit toward that left field corner. The Mets lineup. Curtis Granderson, they need a big comeback from him. David Wright is Mr. Stability for the Mets over the last decade. Lucas Duda, a former batting champion. Michael Kadire joins New York. And then, of course, the doubles machine and Daniel Murphy, the Gold Glove Award winner in center, Lagares, Travis d'Arnaud, and Wilmer Flores, their young shortstop. They will face Max Scherzer. He's made 4 career starts against the Mets. He's 2-0 against him with a 2.89 ERA.
Yeah, that fastball averaged 93 miles an hour in 2014. The slider, curveball to go with it, the changeup, and throw it for a strike. And it's definitely his out pitch with 2 strikes. It's a good one, folks. Everybody talks about the Scherzer fastball. We're going to keep eye on his changeup today. Check it out. 33 starts last year. The numbers 18-5 with a 3.15 ERA. This is his 199th career start. Today is first on opening day.
Yeah, that's really something. But that guy, as you mentioned, named Verlander over there in that Detroit ballpark, he deserved a whole bunch of those starts that he got. So here we go. Long anticipated start to the 2015 season.
Buckle up. Here we go. Enjoy the ride. It's starting right now.
I was going to say, you talked about the ride all season long last year, and it might be time to get this thing rolling again.
Opening day never gets old. This is just the coolest thing ever.
I think the Mets are going to be an improved ball club. Nats will see some good pitching from them in this series. Bartolo Colon today. Jordan Zimmerman faces Jacob deGrom on Wednesday in a night game, and a 1 o'clock game on Thursday. Everybody waiting for Strasburg and Matt Harvey. 32nd year in the big leagues for Tim Welke behind the plate. Tim Timmons in his 17th year. They're the 2 veterans of this crew. Todd Ditchner next in seniority, and then young Chris Siegel on the bases as well.
Well, the commissioner can't be happy with this. We are waiting to start the game, and Max Scherzer's walked off behind the mound, and they're waiting to be released from commercial for ESPN. More Taylor Harper as the crowd boos. And the pace of play has not begun yet. Desmond Escobar on the left side. Ugla Zimmerman on the right side. And Wilson Ramos doing the catch. And we're still waiting. How's this looking with the commissioner here? This can't be good.
I have a feeling the first conference call is about to take place. And the guy that just cued the umpire stands up, raises his hand, and gets a nice ovation from the crowd.
It wasn't us. We're here. We're ready to go.
Curtis Granderson for the Mets, and here we go. On the corner, strike 1 at 4:09 Eastern, 2015 underway. Granderson coming off a .227 season for the Mets. He did hit 20 home runs, drove in 66 last year for them. Nats pitching totally stopped him in that season opening series up in New York. He's 4 for 12 career, though, with a home run against Scherzer. An offer was made. Chris Siegel says he did not go around. Infield, playing Granderson to pull. Off speed in the dirt, blocked by Wilson Ramos. Cy Young 2 years ago. Last 3 seasons, 55 wins. 16, 21, and 18. Misses with the fastball up and away. Not like he was bad the year before that. He won 15 for the 11 Tigers. And he hasn't made fewer than 32 starts over the last 4 years. Bouncing ball foul over by Tom Goodwin. Quick note on Dan or rather on Max Scherzer, from Dan Coco.
Bob, just a quick one for you. Max Scherzer on his way coming into the dugout from the bullpen. We've seen his goofy side when he doesn't pitch. On days that he pitches, he's intense. He didn't give any fist bumps to the guys waiting for him in the dugout. He blew right by his teammates. He's ready to get going.
Yeah, and he's been Mr. Camaraderie and Mr. Practical Joker in the clubhouse.
Well, some keys to watch in today's game. The Mets are a very patient team. They work counts. It's up to Max Scherzer to pound the strike zone early and often today because they'll make you work. Target,
outside edge. Missed it. Leadoff walk and a good at bat for Curtis Granderson. He was in the hole 0-2.
And then on the other side of the coin, Carp, you got Bartolo Colon, who's a strike thrower, and the Nats are swingers. They like to swing the bat. So the Nats have a chance to run into a few today off Colon. But it's going to be big for Max to get ahead in the count and throw strikes all day long.
Granderson, 130 career stolen bases, but he's only stolen 16 total his last 2 years. So here's David Wright, coming off a .269 year when he hit just 8 home runs. Missed about 28 games due to some injuries. Had a bad left rotator cuff. And he didn't play a game after September 19th for the Mets as they made a bit of a drive toward a second-place tie with Atlanta. He's 0 for 2 career against Max Scherzer. Short lead by Granderson. 1-1 with 94.
First time David Wright's hit second since 2010. It's a place he's generally not used to.
Right. But David Wright, you might add to that, as far as right-handed batters in this league, one of the best at going the other way. He's got true gap and home run power to right center. Always has. 86 on the breaking ball. Last year, the Nationals were 9th in the league in turning double plays with 139. Percentage-wise, they were top 5 in the National League in defense. Granderson on a 1-2 pitch holding. David Wright pops it up right side. Ryan Zimmerman, first as a starter at first base, and he grabs it.
Maybe Max Scherzer a little overamped against Curtis Granderson. Get that first out. It's a lot like a hitter getting his first hit of the year. Now let's watch him go.
Next up, Lucas Duda. Boy, when you consider breakout players in the National League last year, Lucas Duda doubled his home run total from each of the 2 previous seasons. He had 30 last year and drove in 92. On the shift, and the Nats have been doing this lately. We saw it in spring training. They'll take Yunel Escobar from third base. That's him to the right of the umpire, while Ian Desmond stays home at short.
Yunel Escobar's got to be thinking right now, wait, I was a shortstop last year. They signed me and said I was going to play second. And then they told me I was starting at third opening day. And now the third hit of the game, I'm back at second. I don't know where I'm at or what position I play.
He has more hits, by the way, against Bartolo Colon than anybody else in the Nationals lineup today. Little calling card toss over there by Scherzer. Granderson used to run a whole lot more than he does now. He had 25 stolen bases as recently as 2011. Target away by Ramos. Foul tip on a pitch upstairs.
So you see 92s, 93s from Scherzer. He's got reach back stuff with 2 strikes. He can get it up there in the mid-90s when he wants to. Let's see if he goes to it right here.
There's the changeup. Ramos snaps it down as Granderson took his time getting back to the bag. Lower throw might have had a chance.
Curtis Granderson kind of got out there a little bit too far, and watch the delay by Ramos. He just takes a peek. Granderson standing there, little snap throw, and way too close for Tom Goodwin, the Mets' first base coach.
One on, one out, and a 1-2 pitch. There's the first of the year. He struck out 252 last year.
Do you see the speed of that? 96 miles an hour. So there's the reach back I'm talking about. 92, 93, 91, and then here you go. 2 strikes. How about a little 96 for you? I just love pitchers that add and subtract to their fastballs. That's pitching.
Well, you saw one of the best at that, didn't you, Pedro?
Yeah, I mean, you could sit out there and throw 96 all day, but I'm going to catch up to that. If you show me 92 right there for strike 1, now in the back of my head, I'm gearing up for 96. Yeah. And that's when the changeup starts working, maybe second time around.
Good hitter in there, Michael Kadire. Won the batting title 2 years ago with a batting average that didn't win him the title last year. He hit .331 2 years ago, but he only played in 49 games last year. He was on the DL 3 times. Couple of problems with his left thigh muscle and his left shoulder in between. He was all beat up for the Rockies last year. In fact, he hurt himself here. So did Troy Tulowitzki at one point in a ball game in this ballpark. Kadire 4 for 17 against Max Scherzer. He's seen him quite a bit with a home run. Kadire, 36 years of age now. He's a Virginia guy out of Norfolk. Former Virginia Player of the Year back in '97. Third base side, Escobar. Long throw to Ryan Zimmerman. And a scoreless first inning of the season for Max Scherzer. PNC Bank for the achiever in you. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. Light traffic on South Capitol Street because so many folks are parked in the yard. Nationals lineup, it'll be interesting to watch. Ian Desmond was just handed his 3rd Silver Slugger minutes ago. He's 4 for 12 career against Bartolo Colon with a couple of home runs. And he is just hammered and hammered and hammered away at Mets pitching. Uggla behind him, and a guy with pop, Tyler Moore, batting 8th. Here's Michael A. Taylor. 1 for 5 against Bartolo Colon, who drops a strike in. 88 on that first one, that P.
Yeah, fastball at 82% of the time last year. At 88 miles an hour is the average. Slider 82, changeup 81. The crafty guy, he'll cut it, he'll sink it, he'll add and subtract from his fastball. He'll front hit that sinker to lefties. 7th opening day start. He was 0-3 with a 7.02 in spring training.
And Michael A. unable to get to that breaking ball. That's the pitch. They're going to keep throwing him until he can show major league pitchers and pitching coaches that he can do something with it. He was 8 for 39 in his Nationals debut. First career home run, only career home run at Citi Field.
That'd be a thrill for Michael Taylor. Leading off the season, starting in center field, getting an opening day start.
Taylor up the middle. It's a clean single. So the Mets got their leadoff guy on with a walk. The Nats do it a different way. And Escobar will get to bring that magical bat up with a man on.
A nice piece of hitting right there, staying inside the baseball, going right back where it came from. Little two-strike mode. Surprised that Colon didn't go back to the slider after Taylor missed it. But he tried to get that fastball in. Michael Taylor going right back up the middle. And for the first time in 2015, for your Washington Nationals, there goes a no-hitter.
As early as it could possibly happen.
It's the earliest it's ever happened.
Taylor, 131 minor league stolen bases. He was 0 for 2 as a big leaguer last September. It's always an interesting matchup when you got the young, raw, talented kid on base and the much more experienced, savvy veteran pitcher on the mound. And a better throw might have had Michael on that one.
Yeah. I think savvy and experienced is...
I'm being kind.
You're being kind. He's
the man's only, what, 41 years of age, and he has a birthday next month.
Oldest opening day starter in the majors since April of 2006 when the 43-year-old Jamie Moyer towed the slab.
That's great. Right side. That will advance Taylor to second as Daniel Murphy goes over to get it, and then Murphy pulls Duda off the bag. Daniel Murphy is an outstanding hitter, but he's not a great second baseman. That is an unforced error that could be costly.
I was about to say a productive out from Yunel Escobar. Hitting behind the runner, putting the ball in play, advancing Michael Taylor to second base, and watch Murphy. Maybe he's nervous on opening day, but Escobar getting down the line did a nice job right here of avoiding the tag. Kind of pulled up early. Probably should have been running a little bit harder down the line. But you can't make mistakes like that against the Washington Nationals and expect to get away with it.
Well, in front of Bryce Harper, that could be a big blow to the Mets. Also mentioning maybe at this point the time of day, as the shadows are already creeping close to the third base line. It will not be optimum hitting conditions here for the next hour and a half or so. Score early, huge in a 4 o'clock game. Harper against Colon, 1 for 10 with 4 strikeouts. They play the outfield around the other way for Bryce. Big gap right center. Almost went. Counts even 1-1.
I think Bryce Harper just asked Tim Welke, is that as far outside as we're going today? I think Bryce thought that was a ball.
Bryce drove in 32 runs in 100 games last year. Remember the last time he had an opening day here against the Marlins 2 years ago. He was large.
Well, Bryce likes the big stage. You remember a couple of years ago here at Nats Park in the home opener, he went deep twice.
First 2 times up against Ricky Nolasco. And those were the only runs in a 2-0 Strasburg win over the Marlins. Nats got that season off to a great start, but it was mainly because of pitching that they were able to sweep Miami. Target away.
And we have them for you.
Well, this is the way to get the party started in 2013. Bryce Harper opening day against the Fish, like you just said, Pud. Place went nuts on that one.
That was with 2 outs in the first. This one lead off in the fourth.
And I even think I said this 2 years ago. They went nutser on this one.
Bryce just couldn't maintain that 362 home run pace for the season. Or 324, whatever it is. 2 on opening day. Swing and a miss on a pitch up.
Let's get to the defense for the New York Mets behind Bartolo Colon. Opening day lineup. Kadire, Lagares, Granderson in the outfield. Flores right, the left side of the infield. Murphy due to the right side. And Travis d'Arnaud doing the catching. It's Curtis Granderson. He can have a much better year this year than he did last year. Guaranteed.
Getting that arm loose. Ryan Zimmerman. Never to be forgotten, the opening night home run that opened up this ballpark. Hard to believe that was 7 years ago. He went on to hit 14 home runs in 08, but he was hurt a lot. And we talked about this in spring training. You look at 3, 4, and 5. Harper, Zimmerman, Ramos. Keep those guys on the field. The season will be as big as Ryan's caricature out there in left field. Bartolo Colon has spent a lot of time in this first inning, stepping off and checking runners.
You might think it's still spring training, just working on his moves out there. That's about the 5th time he's tried to get Michael Taylor.
1-1 the count. Big lead behind him by Escobar. Ryan Zimmerman lines one out of play to the right side.
We saw the off-speed pitch right there from Colon. He likes to double up on the off-speed. Let's see if he goes to it again against Ryan Zimmerman in a 2-strike count. Generally, he throws 1 slider. He'll go back to it.
Ryan Zimmerman career 1 for 3 against Bartolo Colon. Murphy hanging around the bag. Fastball up and in. Counts even.
I see that pitch. I'm looking away right here if I'm Ryan Zimmerman. That was a get him off the plate, push him back a little bit so he can use the other side of the plate.
Getting in some good hacks in the first at bat. We have a real treat ahead for you on Masson today. Baseball commissioner, brand new in the job, Rob Manfred will join us here in the booth. He had a press conference this afternoon at 1:45 Eastern announcing the All-Star game in this ballpark 3 years from now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Target in. Zimmerman on that inside pitch. Can't get it. 88 miles an hour, 2 down.
In, out. That's what Bartolo Colon does. That's what he has to do. So a fastball in to a fastball away, back to a fastball in for strike 3. So just moving that heater around. That's the 2-seamer. Watch the late sink right underneath the barrel of Ryan Zimmerman.
That'll leave it up to Wilson Ramos, who a year ago on opening day had 3 at-bats at New York. As it turned out, he had broken the hamate bone in his hand and wouldn't come back until May 7th. But in only 88 games, he drove in 47 runs. Tends to get him in bunches. He was locked up on that pitch. You know, and guys can go up to the plate over-eager against Bartolo Colon.
Over-eager on opening day. There's nerves everywhere in this ballpark. I don't care if you're Bartolo Colon, 41 years old, or Michael Taylor standing on second base. Everybody's nervous on opening day.
I saw you swing at that pitch a moment ago.
I'm nervous right now.
Outfield around the other way. And now Ramos has to battle from an 0-2 count. This young man, 27 years of age now. 269 career hitter. Oh-2 purpose pitch well off the plate. And the big question for Wilson, how many games can he play during a regular season? 2011 FP his high, and he drove in 52 runs that year.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that just need to stay on the field, and it's going to be interesting to see the kind of production.
One-two and a ground ball to Murphy over at second base. Daniel Murphy on target this time. Base hit and an error. The Nationals strand a couple to the second inning. The commissioner next. Youth Baseball Academy. You acted like you were going to throw the pitch, and then look at that bullet right down the middle. Could you have done that, Commissioner?
No, there's no way it would have been that good. There's no way.
Well, Rob Manfred joins us in the booth, a man who lived in Washington, D.C. for 15 years. Mr. Commissioner, great to have you with us. And I remember when you took this job, one of the first things you said was you want to bring this game back to the youth of America. And then you did it on the first pitch right there. Tell us what you meant by that and how you're feeling about returning this game to the youngsters.
Well, you know, it's obviously throwing out a first pitch is a very exciting thing, and the message that we want our fans to get is it's about the kids. So I had an exciting opportunity rather than me doing it. I thought it was a nice symbol to let a kid do it.
The Nationals very proud of their Youth Baseball Academy here. Second inning underway. Daniel Murphy first pitch. Michael A. Taylor center field. Tell us how D.C. came about in grabbing this All-Star game in 2018. What impressed you and your office enough to make this happen?
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing that's important to say, and Mark Lerner said it in the press conference, the Nationals and the entire Lerner family were absolutely dogged in their pursuit of this All-Star game. I thought somebody was going to ask me how dogged, and I was concerned about how I was going to answer that. But more seriously, Washington is just such a great city. It's such an important city internationally. I think it gives the Nationals a huge advantage in terms of making a bid for an All-Star game because it's a great showcase for our game.
Did the Winter Classic have anything to do with that decision and how the Nats handled that whole thing?
You know, all of our teams are capable of handling big events. You know, teams that are in the postseason, teams that have had all-star games previously. So we were aware of the Winter Classic, obviously, but it was not a big part of our thinking.
So pace of play, you've been talking about that tons. You're probably sick of talking about it. I mean, you couldn't have been happy with how long it took to get back from break. When Max Scherzer was walking around the mound to start this thing up.
No. Look, I do think it's an important initiative. I think that just like at the beginning of spring training, in real games, it's going to take a little bit for the players to get adjusted to how it's going to work in a real game, and for the umpires to begin to remind them about what we're trying to accomplish.
I mean, I was talking about it in that spring training broadcast the other day. You could conceivably have, if some warnings are issued with the foot out of the box thing, you know, maybe you're arguing a call, umpire tells you to get back in, strike 2 and strike 3 without, you know, a pitcher even throwing a pitch. I mean, that's the extreme of that rule.
Right. I don't think you're going to see that sort of extreme activity. I think that, you know, I went around to the camps this spring. I talked to a lot of players. I think you're going to see players cooperate with this. And, you know, our umpires have pretty good judgment about when to push and not push. So I don't really expect it to be a problem.
Travis d'Arnaud, the hitter for the Mets, after that quick fly ball by Murphy, the strikeout of Lagares. Rob, you got 3 more outs with us. Would that be okay next afternoon?
That's fine. That's fine.
8-pitch inning for Max Scherzer with the commissioner. Early, no score in D.C. Manfred is with us. And, you know, the word commissioner not to be taken lightly, sir. Since Kennesaw Mountain Landis back in the 1920s, there have only been 10 of you. That has to really mean something to you when you finally got that title.
Well, I'll tell you, the 2 things that do make you realize what a fantastic opportunity you've been given is the fact there's only been 10 of us, and when you see your name on the baseball. Those are the 2 things that really sort of, there it is. Really interesting. And, you know, it's like a little fraternity. You know, I had an opportunity in the postseason to spend some time with Commissioner Seelig and former Commissioner Uberoff, and it is a great group.
Well, and you worked with Bud for so many years. Was this a pretty comfortable transition for you, and because of the way he handled things?
It was a great transition. He immediately after the election, you know, said to me, this is going to be yours soon, and whatever you need me to help you with in terms of advice, I'm happy to do, but you can get started now. It could not have been more perfect during the transition period.
We've talked about the youth initiative. We've talked about the pace of play. Any other issues facing the game that you would like to take on in due time?
Well, I do think that the issue of streaming games in market is an important one for us. We want to make sure that our fans can consume games wherever they want to consume them on whatever device. So we're working hard on that project as well.
Well, I've been talking about it up here for a while now, and since I have the commissioner sitting next to me.
And a ball popped up by Dan Ugla, should be the second out.
Do you have any way of getting the president to throw out the first pitch in the nation's capital and get that tradition going again.
We have only the bully pulpit on that, but I think the tradition of the president throwing out the first pitch is a great one. We have a great collection in our office of presidential first pitches, pictures of, and what's the most interesting thing about them is the early days they used to throw from the stands.
Right.
And the people around them in the stands are fascinating from a historical perspective. Just a great collection.
That's what I said. Even for security purposes, if you have to go back to them throwing it out from the stands, it's still better than nothing.
Right. It is a great tradition, I think.
Tyler Moore, the number 8 hitter for the Nationals. Commissioner Rob Manfred has been kind enough to spend the second inning with us. By the way, from what I can see, you're doing a great job on this pace of play thing.
Well, those 8-pitch innings are what we're looking for. We really like those.
It's cutting in on your airtime, though.
That's right. Max was doing his part for us there.
Any thoughts on playoff configuration changes as we go forward? We've heard things about maybe another team, another element of the wild card thing. Your thoughts?
I'm really happy with the playoff format. Of all the things that we're thinking about and working on, it's one that I think the status quo is great. The one-game playoff is really exciting, great way for us to get started. And I think we always want baseball to remain the sport with the most selective postseason, which is where we are now.
Any chance of day baseball in the postseason?
Well, there's a lot. People forget. They really mean day baseball in the World Series. Because we do play a lot of day baseball in the earlier rounds.
Right.
With respect to day games in a World Series, we work really hard with our broadcast partners to make sure that we get the biggest audience possible.
Rob, thank you so much. An honor to have the commissioner with us. By the way, that was another 8-pitch half inning.
That's right. That's very good.
So congratulations. You're off to a great start.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
And help you out. The moment you try to control your adrenaline, you're in your head. And so for me, I'm a high adrenaline pitcher, so whenever a situation arises, I enjoy those situations. Use the moment to help fuel you. And when you do that, that's typically when I pitch my best.
Well, after a leadoff walk, and you could understand based on what you just heard from Max Scherzer, the adrenaline was pumping. He dialed it in. That pitch right there to Lucas Duda was 96 miles an hour, and you check out the slider. To Juan Lagares, acted more like a changeup, didn't do a whole lot, but the nerves are settled, and you're seeing the real Max Scherzer.
Yeah. So those were the second outs of each inning. Only one ball into the outfield, the fly ball by Murphy. So here we are, top three. Wilmer Flores, the shortstop. They like this young man. He hit .251 in 78 big league games last year after hitting .323 at AAA Las Vegas. Wilmer Flores is only 23. Signed with the Mets on his 16th birthday back in August of '07 out of Valencia, Venezuela. Ruben Tejada
the incumbent at short on their bench. He does not like cold weather, but it's not cold today. They went with Flores, and that's number 3 for Max Scherzer. Now he'll face the pitcher.
Little cut to this fastball at 93 miles an hour. Watch it take off at the end. Just kind of moving away from Wilmer Flores, moving away from Wilson Ramos, and a little reach back, and you see the ball disappear in the shadows. That at bat that Wilson Ramos had to end the first might have turned out to be big. It's going to be tough to score runs here.
It's going to be brutal hitting for the next 30 to 45 minutes now. Bartolo Colon, an .076 career hitter with 5 RBIs. He hits their hardest ball of the day, but it's right at Michael A. 2 down.
Oh, rally towel. How about this? Come out to Nats Park on Wednesday, April 8th, as the Nats take on the Mets in Game 2 of this series. Celebrate the beginning of this season. All fans in attendance will receive a Nationals rally towel that's presented by Norfolk Southern. All right.
Top of the order, Granderson. What a day at the ballpark. Shades, sleeves, food with mom. Lots of red ball caps. Here's Granderson. Strike 1.
Look at that rally napkin day.
To the right side, Dan Ugla. 1, 2, 3, 7 pitches this time. 20 in the first, 8 in the second, 7 in the third. Max Scherzer. Michael A. Taylor, the only hit of the game. And when the Nationals win big, everyone wins. This season, when the Nats win and score 7 or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Enter the promo code NATS50. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's, official pizza of your Washington Nationals. And that's valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's. Against the Mets, the Nats are dominating. They went 15-4 against New York last year. Finished 13 hot against them. So 20 of the last 24. All-time Nationals 97, Mets 86. That goes back to 05 when the Mets were a real powerhouse in the National League before the Phillies kind of took things over 2 years later.
Well, there's one guy the Mets are glad that isn't here today. It's Adam LaRoche. He used to crush him.
Let's see, we're playing the East. They won't have to deal with LaRoche until next year against the White Sox. We wish Adam well. Man, is he a guy we'll miss around here.
It's my broadcast partner.
That was so great the day he came up.
Awesome.
Sunday afternoon, I believe it was. Max Scherzer, career batting average of 165, down on strikes. That's 3 for Cologne. For the Achiever and You, PNC Bank, with our minor league report. And the great thing about this is he's a major leaguer now. Michael A. Taylor last year combined .315, 22 homers, 63 batted in at Harrisburg and Syracuse.
I think the on-base percentage was approaching 400 too.
It's awesome. Called up August 10th when Steven Souza Jr. went on the DL after that nasty collision he had with the right field wall in Atlanta. It's another guy we want to wish well. Steven with the Tampa Bay organization. Part of Nationals history forever. 1-1 to Taylor, who singled sharply up the middle first time. By the way, Michael A. Taylor and Matt Dendecker, the new Nat, from the same high school down in Florida, Westminster Academy in the Fort Lauderdale area.
See Michael Taylor thinking right there. Is he going to go away right here, 2-1? Or is he going to come in?
This one popped into short right. Daniel Murphy out there. He got the help he needed from Curtis Granderson for the second out. Baseball now, basketball later on WUSA 9. Tonight at 8, a special edition of Game On Championship, followed by the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game on WUSA 9. It's Jordan Zimmerman's Wisconsin Badgers against Mike Krzyzewski's Blue Devils of Duke. Here's Escobar. Reached on the throwing error by Daniel Murphy first time up. Escobar 6 for 14, now 15 career against Bartolo Colon. Likes to move the ball around. He's a good opposite field hitter. Didn't like that call, and Tim Welke's been given some high strikes here in the early going. This umpire's been in the big leagues, entering his 32nd year.
Yeah, nobody ever talks about the umpires having trouble picking up the ball in the shadows, but it's the case.
Yeah. Good call. Sharply to the right side for Murphy. So the pitchers dominate early here. Well done by Bartolo Colon and Max Scherzer to the middle innings. We go scoreless.
Burke, he was asked the other day if he has any individual goals for himself coming into this season, and Scherzer replied that he doesn't, especially in terms of numbers or anything like that. He just wants to become a better, more complete pitcher. Scherzer said that his key is his approach. He said results take care of themselves, and what he chooses to focus on in his approach, and that the approach is what wins. He says that he has to find a way to become a better pitcher, and if he does that, he's comfortable in what the results will be. So Scherzer not as much focused on first pitch strikes, the strikeout numbers, ground ball percentage, just wants to become a more complete pitcher, go into each start with a solid approach, and he feels that that's going to pay off guys with positive results.
Yeah, I always wondered why guys put pressure on themselves after signing a big contract. You would think it would be just the opposite. You're set for life, and now you just go out. You don't have to worry about your numbers. You worry about one thing, and that's winning.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those guys, Pete, they go to spring training and they get asked about that a lot, and maybe that gets the thought process going. It's probably hard to filter some of that out when people are on you about it all the time.
And what a luxury to be a major league player, and you don't have to worry about your numbers. It's all you have to worry about is what I can do today to help my team win, and that's exactly what Max Scherzer represents.
I think he's going to set a career low in ERA this year with this club, with this defense, in this league. David Wright fouled out to Ryan Zimmerman first time up. David Wright, now 32 years of age, in his 12th year in the big leagues. Zimmerman, how about that? Half of them are mad down in the Hampton Roads area. The other half are happy. Happy as one Virginia robs another.
Man, what a great play by Ryan Zimmerman. What a great pitch by Max Scherzer. Very rarely you see David Wright take a defensive swing like that. So the two-seam fastball running in on his hands, and then Ryan Zimmerman took care of the rest. Got an in-between hop, diving toward the line. Said, I got this, Max. And he did. What a play. Looking it right into his glove. No need for a transfer. He knew David Wright had trouble getting out of the box because of that defensive swing. He had plenty of time. Nice play. Yeah,
Ryan's had a half dozen touches on the ball already. A couple of plays he's made himself, then 4 other throws received. And you know when you're out there, you want to get some action. You want to get a touch on the ball early. He's had a bunch. This is Desmond on the shift for the foul ball. Lucas Duda goes down in a hurry. And Max Scherzer has retired 11 in a row.
Let's go deep inside the numbers. Consecutive seasons with 30-plus starts, 170-plus innings, and 170-plus Ks. That's the big boys right there, folks. Impressive.
Yeah, Felix Hernandez hurt this year. Max Scherzer, 214 and 220 innings the last 2 years. First 2 times he's gone over 200. He had been close with 195 in 2011. Facing a great hitter in Michael Kadire here with 2 outs in the 4th. Kadire bounced out to Escobar at third base for the last out first inning. Some welcome cloud cover for the hitters here. There's no sunshine or glare, at least for a few moments here. Kadire facing Max Scherzer for the 19th time.
92, 92, 94, 95. And the reason
Do I sense a trend?
Well, just to see, the reason I say that as a hitter, that's tough. I mean, when you got a guy that you know can get up in the mid-90s, you got to be ready with 2 strikes.
Up the middle, but that's where Dan Uggla is playing. And Max Scherzer has given up just 1 walk through 4 innings. Harper, Zimmerman, Ramos waiting for some offense now.
Off they go. That's Tom behind Abe. Unforced error there.
Are those mini Olympic torches?
I'm having a hard time.
Are they having a toga party?
Hand off to George.
I think the presidents are having a toga party.
Teddy, now Teddy, after the Easter Bunny took out, somebody else gets taken out, and William Howard Taft making a late appearance. He's in there for the win. And evidently, as soon as he's nice to the kids, he gets bad bunny after that.
Yeah, I think the Easter Bunny had rabies here today at Nats Park.
Let's have a look at our Mazda do-ups here. And what they've done against the Mets. Harper, Zimmerman, Ramos, each with their share of damage. Ball one to Bryce Harper. There were a couple of borderline pitches that didn't go Bryce's way first time up. There were 2 men on, nobody out back in the first. Harper launches one to right center. See you later. Number 1 for the season. The Nationals are on top. Something about Bryce Harper an opening day in this yard.
Remember the first time up, Cologne worked Harper strictly away, struck him out on a 2-seamer that ran off the plate away. He wanted this pitch in the same spot. He missed his location, threw it right down the middle, and Bryce Harper, his 56th career home run. Picking up right where he left off against the Giants.
And as we mentioned, he hit 2 here on opening day 2 years ago against the Marlins. Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Home run ball got Bartolo last year. Harper didn't hit any, but the Nats hit him deep 6 times in 30 innings. Cologne, by the way, career just 2-5 in 7 starts against Washington.
Well, Bryce had a great spring. He was locked in pretty much all of camp, and you see the location. Travis d'Arnaud wanted that off the plate away. Cologne threw it right down the middle and right onto Bryce Harper's barrel for the first Nats home run of the year. That was fun.
Zimmerman locked up on a pitch under his hands, 1 out. Bartolo Colon, 4th strikeout. Ryan Zimmerman twice. And it'll be Ramos and Desmond.
Watch where he's setting up. He wants that off the plate away. Did you see the 1 glove reach right there? He wanted that on the black. He had to reach back across the plate. It was right down the middle. And hot hitters, power hitters, guys like Bryce Harper don't miss that pitch. I mean, you get away with that if it's 96, not if it's 88.
Yeah. It's always interesting on the 2nd or 3rd replay of a home run to watch the catcher. They may know it as soon as the hitter knows it.
Right. Talking to Matt Williams right now.
Ramos to short for Wilmer Flores. 2nd out, 4th inning. That'll bring in Ian Desmond, who went up hacking early and grounded out first time.
Slugger Club right there, skipper, Bryce Harper. The other thing about that swing, Carp, it wasn't the big come out of your shoes Bryce Harper swing that we've seen in the past. That was very under control. It was almost like he was playing pepper, trying to go right back up the middle. Caught it just a little bit out front, had that click, and next thing you know, it's 8 rows deep in right center field. That wasn't a violent Bryce Harper swing. That was very under control.
Yeah, good point. We talked about the run differential last year. The Nats by far the best in the league. Part of that was the home run differential. The Nationals hit 152 home runs last year, 4th in the league, but they gave up the fewest in baseball, 110.
That's just under control. See him keep the hands inside right there. And the foot might have been off the ground. We always talk about how his back foot comes off the ground, but he was so balanced and under control. I don't think it came up off the ground very much, if it did at all. That means he's not jumping. That means he's balanced. Impressive.
Ian Desmond. spots the pitch diving, takes it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Ian Desmond's always been a slow starter, offensively, defensively. April hasn't been his favorite month.
Yeah.
But they need him to get out of the gate quick this year with all the injuries.
Quite a rip. Bartolo Colon gave up 22 home runs last year, 6 of them to the Nationals. He won 15 games last season for a team that won 79. This guy's won 204 big league games. Desmond just strokes it the other way, hanging up in the air, unable to get there. Lucas Duda.
That's good effort by Lucas Duda. It's not an easy play right now where the sun's at.
Right.
Just out of his reach, but that was good hustle.
Desmond jammed, hits it hard to David Wright, former Gold Glover over there. Short throw, Duda picks it. But Bryce Harper, as FP mentioned, career home run number 56, career RBI number 150. The Nats on top.
It's 1-0 Nats on the Bryce Harper home run as we head to the top of the 5th inning. The Mets have 1 base runner. It was leadoff hitter Curtis Granderson who walked on a 3-2 pitch. Other than that, Mad Max, has been lights out. Fastball's gotten as high as 96 miles an hour. The slider's been good, but it's really been about pounding the strike zone, getting ahead in the count, and really using that heater.
I mean, the ratio is amazing right now. 46 pitches, 35 strikes. He's thrown a total of 4 balls that have missed the strike zone in the last 3 innings. Daniel Murphy steps in. Tough guy, contact guy, line drive hitter, lots of doubles in his career. In fact, Daniel Murphy has 190 career doubles. He had 37 when he had 289 for the Mets last year.
Strike 1 again.
He had 9 first pitch strikes to his first 10 hitters today. Inside to Murphy, now 30 years of age, had a birthday on April 1st. Out to left center. A ways to go for Taylor, but he's camped, and he's got it.
Nats Plus is back, folks, for 2015. It's going to feature incredible benefits, including discounts, exclusive events, and more. For a limited time, new members can also receive an official 10th anniversary Nationals jersey. That is while supplies last. Go to the website for more details. Nationals.com/NatsPlus. It's the logo out there, 10 years.
Going to be an ongoing theme.
It's your 10th year.
It's hard to believe. And congratulations on making it to your 5th year working with me.
5th year senior.
You are in uncharted waters, my friend.
They called you the widower.
I know.
When I first got here.
They kept killing people. I'm not going to be able to kill that career. That's going, buddy.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. And you've gotten to see the best of times. Juan Lagares struck out by Max Scherzer. That's 4 for Max today. He's been getting contact outs. And Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher, is next.
It's almost like he lulls you to sleep with strike 1 on a corner. He's been moving the fastball in and out for strike 1, and then doesn't care about location a whole lot, it seems like, with 2 strikes, because here comes the express. 95 by Juan Lagares.
d'Arnaud bounced out to Escobar at third first time. There was d'Arnaud trying to step out a little bit to slow down Max Scherzer. Scherzer maybe not as quick as Pfister, but the two of them are really fun to watch with that efficient work rate of each. Little off speed, 85, nasty.
It's pitching.
1-1.
Falls behind 1-0, missed his location instead of just laying a fastball in there. He goes to a 1-0 slider, and d'Arnaud looking for the heat.
Swing and a miss. Diving from the right-handed batter. 15 in a row for Max Scherzer. The Harper homer the difference. A 10-pitch inning. What a show this man's putting on. The Nats on top, 1-0. Memberships for the Junior Nationals Kids Club, this year's version, presented by Harris Teeter, on sale now. It's full of great benefits for Nats fans 12 and younger. MVP members receive a membership card, book bag, a growth chart, coupons, and much more. Go to nationals.com/juniornats to register your young one today. Youngest member of this announced crew, Dan Coco. All yours, buddy.
Bob, we talked a lot this spring about how Dan Uggla has gotten past the vision problems that plagued him the last couple of years. He showed up to spring training feeling confident, but I asked him what this spring led him to have the most confidence really out of his results or his approach. He said hard hit balls. He said he would go through weeks at a time the last couple of years when he wouldn't really square much up. This spring, he says he was making hard-hit contact a lot more frequently. That was the indicator to him that he's back. He really does feel in a good place entering the regular season.
They're very balanced, very under control, not jumping at the baseball. And when you can't see the baseball, I talked to him about this, you develop a bunch of bad habits to try to compensate. I heard him talk to some reporters today. He was legally blind. His vision, when his head moved last year after getting hit in the head a couple of times, it affected his vision. He's done all kinds of different drills, jumping on trampolines with blindfolds on, trying to get that balance back. And he said he's seeing the baseball for the first time in a number of years.
It's been a number of years. Swing and a miss. Pretty good heat by Bartolo Colon, 87 there. So Uggla with a pop-up and a strikeout, 0 for 2. That will bring in Tyler Moore. Bartolo Colon pitching a strong opening day game. As we mentioned earlier, and this is a number that might surprise a lot of people, it's Bartolo's 7th career opening day start. Some great years with Cleveland. Expos 3 years before that franchise came here. White Sox, Angels, Red Sox, White Sox, Yankees, Athletics, and 15 and 13 with the Mets last year. Tyler Moore, fly ball to center, first time up. Gets the count back even. I don't know how long Tyler Moore is going to bat 8th, but there could be some extra base hits out of this spot. He was lining doubles, triples, and homers all over Florida. And Bartolo Colon's got some sneaky fast stuff going right now. He humped that thing up to 92. Struck out Uggla on 87. Tyler Moore, 231 for the Nats last year, only 42 games. Locked up on a pitch upstairs. Max Scherzer, 56 pitches, 43 strikes. Struck out his first time swinging. He has 4 career RBIs. As an American leaguer last year, he only had 2 at-bats the whole season. Great pitching matchup between Bartolo and Max. Bartolo Colon strikes out the side. His K total up to 7. He will bat second in the 6th. 1-0 Nats.
Park this year, new for 2015. Brand new fan experiences can be included with your group outing, like watching batting practice, pinch hitting in the 7th inning, holding the finish line for the Geico President's Race. Call 202-675-NATS or go to nats.com for more details. 1-0. We head to the top of the sixth. Carp, John Turnauer and his grounds crew are the best in baseball. They laid the last piece of grass on March 6th, here at Nats Park. They started in early February. Remember, the Winter Classic was here, tough winter. So every piece of grass you're seeing here at Nats Park is brand new, and the last piece was laid March 6th. So a little round of applause to the Nats grounds crew, the best in the business, and a wonderful playing service. They got it done on time. The weather broke, and it looks spectacular.
I love that promo. It looked like Ian Desmond was coming out of the corn in Iowa. Was that Dyersville, Iowa, right? Wilmer Flores, strike one, top of the sixth. Flores, Colon, Granderson for the Mets. Popped up, left center. Taking charge. Taylor called off Tyler Moore at the end, as the center fielder should.
Carp, I talked early in spring training about a super staff and going back in the day and playing the Braves, and how in the middle of one game, your mind starts to wander about who you're facing the next game. And when you have a guy like Maddox one night and you're 0 for 2 and you start thinking, I got Smoltz tomorrow night and then I got Glavine on Sunday, that's what this staff does to you. So now you got Mets hitters that maybe are thinking, okay, I got Zimmerman and then Strasburg. I better get my knocks today, because when you get off a plane, I mean, there's nothing comfortable about facing any of these five guys the Nats have. And it can get in your head about the whole series, maybe the first game, if you're not getting your knocks to show.
Colon takes it inside, 2-1. Bartolo hit the ball on the sweet spot first time, lined out to Taylor in center. And this one over the dugout. Counts even 2-2. Curtis Granderson walked to lead off the game, and since then, swing and a miss. Strikeout number 6.
I mean, he's filling up the zone right now. It doesn't matter what pitch it is. And they're all plus pitches. So, I mean, here's the slider right here, kind of backed up on him. Colon with the defensive swing, but, you know, getting ahead. We talked about it earlier. The key for Max Scherzer against a very patient Mets team is to throw strike one. He's done it all day so far.
Here's Granderson. Up and away with a heater.
And he's done it mostly with the heater. Coming in this inning, 39 of his 56 pitches have been fastballs. Not messing around.
An appeal. Chris Siegel says he didn't go.
It's a good take by Granderson.
It is. He was in the whole 0-2, fouled off some pitches, battled back for that game leadoff walk. 3-0. He missed on 4 in a row. Granderson, by the way, 4 for 13 career with a home run against Max Scherzer. Hey, you never know. It's possible Scherzer might pick him out as the one guy he didn't want to mess with a whole lot in this lineup. You never know. We'd have to probably ask him about that later. But Max, kind of like Pfister, can't stand to walk anybody. That was unusual. Now he has David Wright.
Hadn't been in the stretch in a while. Let's see how he reacts.
Yeah. For 3 hitters 5 innings ago. That's not his best move.
No, that's not. Some pitchers have A, B, and C moves. I think that was Max's Z move.
Granderson inching off. As mentioned, he's a good base runner, not the burner he used to be at the age of 34. David Wright pops it up. Dan Ugla tells everybody he's got it. And why did Ian Desmond go over there to get that ball? I mean, that's over in right center field.
I'll tell you why. He's thinking about the angle that he had because of the sun, even though he went way too far for that ball. He knows this time of day at Nats Park that his second baseman's looking into the sun. That's his thinking. Was it the right play? Obviously not.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that's what he's thinking. He's creating an angle on this pop-up. Ugglas can't. He doesn't know if Uggla can see this, so the sun's not a factor for Ian Desmond, but the distance was, and the lack of communication was the end of it. You see him calling Uggla off there. Uggla's sunglasses lit up. He was looking into the sun.
Boy, the scorer hasn't posted anything on the board. It is an error, which it should be. But more importantly now, second and third, 2 outs, and a tough hitter, Lucas Duda. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's why he did it. It wasn't the right play, obviously.
And now it's up to Max to pitch out of this. It just looks so crazy when the ball's so far over on the right side like that, and the shortstop gets involved. So it's up to Max Scherzer to keep this a 1-0 game. High strike. Counts even, 1-1.
Well, you're going to have to redline to get out of this one. You saw 96 early. We've seen 96 with 2 strikes, never for strike 1.
Uggla's in short right field on a modified shift.
But you just look at the body language from Max Scherzer right now. It's game on, folks. I mean, he threw that ball, walked down the mound, and wanted it right back. He's going after Lucas Duda. This is what the great ones do, folks. They turn it up a notch. And right now, that's what Scherzer's doing. Listen to the crowd. They're trying to help him out.
And a drive to right center. The Mets will take the lead on their first base hit of the game. A 2-out walk. A problem between the second baseman and shortstop, and Lucas Duda makes the Nats pay dearly.
Well, it's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, so he went a couple of 96s to a 98. Lucas Duda was not sitting on anything else but a fastball right there. Knew what to do with it. So Max Scherzer, in the moment, was fired up, threw his hardest fastball of the day, but Duda was ready. And like you said, Carp, they made the Nats pay for that error big time.
That's the first base hit in this ballpark by an opposing player since the 9th inning on Saturday, September 27th. Justin Bauer, a Virginia guy, had a base hit for the Marlins in a game the Nats won 5-1 behind Steven Strasburg. Of course, the next day was the Jordan Zimmerman no-hitter. And we were having some flashbacks moments ago before all this happened with 2 outs that it could happen again. Michael Kadire, couple of ground balls. 1 ball, 2 strikes on that foul ball. Scherzer takes a little bit off. That's a swing and a miss, and the inning's over. The Mets will pick up 2 unearned runs on a walk, an error, and a big hit by Duda.
know if this was communicated, but I'm going to tell you why Ian Desmond did what he did. We're going to look at Dan Uggla. See his shadow? That tells you where the sun is. So the sun's probably right above his head, and Ian Desmond's coming over, and he thinks by looking this way he can take the sun out of the picture right here, and that Uggla's looking right up into it. And I think if he just kept going there and there was communication, he didn't back off, he would have had it. You see Uggla's, you can see the sun right there in his glasses. In my opinion, I don't know because I'm not down there. I think Dan Uggla saw it. We won't know till after the game.
And he was camped and he had the arm out as if he saw it.
Yeah, and Ian will be the first one to tell you that was probably a bad decision. But I'm just telling you the thought process. If you're at home going, why in the world is he going all the way over there? That's why.
No swing. Bottom of the 6th underway. Now it's up to Bartolo Colon to make this stick for the Mets. Taylor 1 for 2. This will be out of play, right side. Nats box. Taylor led off the game with a hit. Escobar reached on a Murphy error. But then Harper, Zimmerman, Ramos went down. Bryce led off the 4th with a home run. His 3rd career opening day home run to put the Nationals on top. Now they have had 6 in a row, retired since then. So Bartolo Colon is doing some great things for New York too. Taylor a chopper, David Wright there to cut it off. That'll bring in Escobar, followed by Harper.
A perfect example of what the Nats can't do early in the season. I mean, obviously you could never make a play like that, but with the injuries on offense, they have to do all the little things, move guys over, bunt guys over, hit and run. We saw Matt Williams do that with Yunel Escobar the other day against the Yankees, and they have to make every play on defense. This is how it's going to go for a while, 2-1, 1-0, you know, until you get your 1, 2, 3 hitters back and everybody's clicking.
Man, a rocket. Duda picks it off. We talked about how Escobar can use the field and hit the ball well. Rough out, 2 down.
Time for a little Yellowwood bringing the lumber. Bryce Harper definitely brought the lumber in the 4th inning after striking out his first time up on a 2-seam fastball away. Bryce got a heater right down the middle. Under control, balance. Looked like both feet on the ground. About what, 5-6 rows deep in right center field. I love you sign to his family, and the first home run of the year for Bryce Harper.
His 2nd career hit against Bartolo Colon. 91 right in there.
Once you know he just got the same pitch he hit out.
Yeah.
He didn't want to throw that there.
Made it to 150 RBIs on that swing. Good rip there on 92. Whoa. He probably didn't expect a fastball anywhere near the plate on 0-2, and Colon didn't get the call from Tim Wilkie.
You wouldn't think he'd see anything middle in after what he did last time.
Bartolo Colon showing that he's not really that affected by giving up the home run. He'll do the unexpected. He turns that one over, and Harper finds a hole, and Bryce Harper has 2/3 of the offense right now.
2 outs, good time to steal. Nice piece of hitting by Bryce Harper. Down by 1 run. Let's see if he goes. But another location mistake. He wanted off the plate away. You see where Darno was set up? Missed by a couple inches. Bryce Harper back up the middle. Nice piece of hitting.
But a lot of this has to do with his pitchers.
But Travis d'Arnaud threw out only 19% of base runners against him and his battery mate last year. So here's Ryan Zimmerman, pair of swinging strikeouts. Colon's been pounding him inside. Off speed for a strike.
1-1 to the plate. That's too fast to go. Bartolo Colon's break time right there. Time the ball left his hand at the time it hit Travis d'Arnaud's glove. 1.1 seconds. Bryce Harper needs about a 1.3 or above to be able to steal second base.
Just missing away. As mentioned earlier, outfield around to the right against Zimmerman. They've been opposite field against most of the Nats hitters, indicating Colon would be keeping the ball away, but he's gotten Zimmerman out inside. Maybe inside is where the strikes are. Colon took a long look at Tim Welke after that one.
Let's see what Pitch Track thinks. Tried to run back the two-seamer. Thought he did. And maybe Welke gave up on him. That ball had a lot of late movement.
Welke is set up over the inside shoulder of the catcher there and maybe sees the inside edge a whole lot better. I can't believe how far inside Travis d'Arnaud jumped right before that pitch. He was right off the kneecap of Ryan Zimmerman, and it's ball 3. Harper edges off first. Bottom of the 6th, the Nationals down by a run. Short lead by Bryce now. Zimmerman takes it way upstairs. 2 on, 2 out. And a big spot for Wilson Ramos as the Nats try to answer immediately.
This one didn't miss by much either. Pitch Track has it as a strike. Good eye by Ryan Zimmerman. So Bryce Harper couldn't steal second base because Colon was so quick to the plate. But a walk to Zimmerman, and now the Buffalo has a chance to tie this one up or more.
Wilson Ramos has grounded out to second and to short. Career, he's 2 for 13 against Bartolo Colon. Infield in the shadows now.
Best arm in the outfield's Lagares. He can throw.
Yeah, good center fielder, good runner at second. Ramos lifting one foul. That's right-hander Carlos Torres. The Mets have an 8-man bullpen and only 4 extra men on their bench. They have 3 lefties, including Jerry Blevins, and the 5 right-handers. Their closer, Henry Mejia. Bobby Parnell is back in the big leagues. Way outside, 1-1. They say Bobby Parnell's throwing low 90s. And on his way back to full strength from a couple of years ago. Right now, the Nats trying to deal with the high 80s, low 90s of Bartolo Colon.
Getting tired, starting to miss up in the zone.
Pitch count, low 80s. Good ratio. A lot of room down the left field line. David Wright playing him to pull there. And Colon can't find home plate. Ball 3.
One pitch, one spot, let it rip.
And if he doesn't get it, Ian Desmond on deck. That run back fastball, and then it dove on him, and it's 3-2 with Harper and Zimmerman on the move shortly.
Well, got on top of this one, kept it down the zone. Not exactly where Wilson Ramos was looking for it. He was looking for something maybe a little more center cut. Here we go.
Same pitch gets Ramos 2 miles an hour harder. The Nats get a base hit, a walk. They've stranded 4 today. The Mets by 2-1.
The only thing that's not perfect for Nats fans is 2-1 scores. We head to the top of the 7th inning. It's time for a T-Mobile game changer. I'm going to show it to you one more time. Max Scherzer thought he was out of the inning. David Wright popped up to what looked like a routine play to Dan Uggla. Ian Desmond cruised all the way over from shortstop, called off Uggla. And then Lucas Duda with some damage after that. So that's where this game is, 2-1. Max Scherzer not happy about what happened behind him, but he has been lights out here today in his Nationals debut.
1 hit in 6 innings. Murphy, 2 fly balls to center. Lagares, 2 strikeouts. And then Travis d'Arnaud, the Mets due-ups, top 7. In the air to left for Tyler Moore.
Ready to celebrate opening weekend with the Carolina League's defending Mills Cup champion. The Peanuts are going to be home April 9th through the 15th. Highlights include replica championship ring giveaway, fireworks, $1 hot dogs, $1 tickets, and T-shirts. For more information, call the number on your screen. I see lots of red people today. Red Loft rocking as it usually is for a day game.
Hard hit. Desmond picks it to the backhand side. Bad throw. He's going to get his 2nd error of the day. Bouncing in front of Ryan Zimmerman. Lagares can fly, and that
kind of torqued up the whole play there.
I said it in 12. I said it in 13. I said it last year. I'm going to say it again. The game moves fast for Ian Desmond in the month of April. He has had some tough Aprils on both sides of the baseball. And even though today's one game and he may have a great April this year, it's not starting out the way he pictured it. In between hop, you see Ryan just getting handcuffed because that ball was thrown hard.
Hard slider, swing and a miss. Travis d'Arnaud, who has bounced out to Escobar and struck out swinging.
Watching a video of Scherzer in spring training, Carp, and it hit me who he reminds me of. He's got a lot of Bob Welsh in him. His delivery. Remember young Bob Welsh? He was a flamethrower for the Dodgers. Very similar deliveries, body types and stuff.
In his prime, one of the better postseason pitchers with the Dodgers and the A's.
I tweeted out the epic confrontation with Reggie Jackson in the World Series.
Unbelievable.
Fastball after fastball after fastball, and he finally struck Reggie out.
Here
Classic.
it is. That ball bounced. Ramos pounced, and he picked it up cleanly. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a 2-2. Out to center. Taylor after it. Watching it. To the wall. Can't get it. Rounding second, heading for third, Lagares. He will score. d'Arnaud coming into third. And the Mets lead 3-1.
Well, that was a bent arm swing by Travis d'Arnaud. I did not think it was going to carry this far. And it didn't look like he got all of this. Michael Taylor, with a tremendous effort as the fence is approaching, had a chance. That ball was a couple feet away from going out of here. So top of the wall. And when you look at the flags on the building across street, Carp, that'll tell you which way the wind's blowing. Sometimes the flags here in the bowl of a stadium don't tell you. And d'Arnaud checking it out to see if it's going to drop. I don't think he thought he got that either. He barreled it up, but he didn't really get a lot of extension. But the wind is blowing out to left field. If you look across street, you look at the flags. Kind of got that one up and out of the stadium and into the breeze.
1 out. A run in. Runner at third. Infield in. And a pinch hitter on deck. This will help the Nats. Ryan Zimmerman, 2 outs. Kirk Neuenhuis in the on-deck circle, and he will approach home plate. Bartolo Colon will be done after 6.
Bartolo Colon was good. 3 hits, 1 run, moved the ball all over the place today. In, out, up, down, all 4 quadrants of the strike zone, pounded the zone.
Walked 1, struck out 8.
Basically said, I got your 41 years and 317 days right here.
Yeah, call me the oldest starter in baseball on opening day.
Oldest opening day starter for the Mets in their history, topping Tom Glavine, who was 41 years and 7 days in 2007.
That was Xavier Cedeno. Scherzer due to bat 4th in the bottom of the 7th. Throws a strike. Kirk Neuenhuis, 27 years of age. And for the Mets last year, hit .259 in 112 at-bats. And a great stop by Ramos on a ball that hit way out in front of him and the batter's box.
Sliding over, body in front. Saving a run, nice.
Max Scherzer gets through 7. He deserves better than the 3-1 deficit. 2 errors setting up all 3 Mets runs. Is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. A screech swinging for the Stars. Nats will have to generate some offense here in the last couple of innings as they trail the Mets 3-1. Well, we talked about how long it had been since an opposing player even had a base hit in this ballpark, FP. Didn't happen on September 28th.
Well, besides the obvious and that great play by Steven Souza Jr., the Gumby shoulders by Jordan Zimmerman on the mound when he thought the no-hitter was over. And then he went from despair to elation, and this place went nuts. And you and I were giving each other the same look during some commercial breaks today. We didn't talk about it, but we kept giving each other that look like we may see back-to-back no-hitters.
Yeah, the Nats might be 2 miscues from being in that same situation. Day off tomorrow, night game Wednesday. Jacob deGrom coming off a 9-6 season. One of the good young pitchers in the National League. Jordan Zimmerman, one of the great pitchers in the National League. ERA's about the same. Strikeout, Zimmerman the edge. How about the pitching matchups in this whole series? Yeah, then that, Strasburg-Harvey thing on Thursday.
I can't wait to watch Matt Harvey pitch. He's one of my favorite players in baseball.
Carlos Torres. He's out of Aptos, California. Went to San Jose State and Kansas State. And he's been with a couple of clubs. The White Sox. Pitched in Japan for year 2011. The Rockies. Now the last 2 years with the Mets.
And his strike throw. Throws a lot of cut fastballs. And obviously going to be the Mets' 7th inning guy this year. They have a good back of the bullpen. But he'll throw you a fastball. He'll cut that fastball to curveball and change to go with it. Fastball average is 92.
Ian Desmond, Dan Ugla, Tyler Moore, bottom of the 7th. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donate $250 to the Children's National Health System for every home run a Nats player hits this year. It's for a great cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. Desmond 0 for 2, pair of ground balls to third. The Nats are down by 2. Yeah, first time this year, it's getting late. Ian Desmond career against Carlos Torres, 3 for 10 with a pair of doubles.
There's just certain players that take a while to get into the rhythm of a season. And you know, it's usually the type A guys, and it's usually the routine guys. Every year as a player coming out of spring training, you want to find your routine. What's my routine this year? What time am I getting to the park? What time am I getting to the cage? And you get into a rhythm of the season.
Desmond up the middle to his right, Murphy.
And Carp, I think Ian, from what I've seen over the last 4 years, is just that player that once he gets into that flow of the season, he can be right where he is every single year. It just takes him a while to get into that, find it, maybe calm down from opening day, and be the player that we all know he is, a silver slugger. I mean, an MVP type, really, if you want to get perfectly honest with it. And his numbers will be right where they are every single year if he's healthy.
Number 7 hitter, Dan Uggla. He's 2 for 8 career against Torres. That's a 2-hopper to the shortstop, Wilmer Flores.
It's baseball now, then basketball later on WUSA 9. Tonight at 8, a special edition of Game On Championship, followed by the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game on WUSA 9. Game on. Championship game on.
Tyler Moore, fly ball to center, swinging strikeout. Then if it gets down to continuing this inning, Matt Williams at least showing a right-handed batter on deck with the power of Clint Robinson in the dugout from the left side. That's Reed Johnson, one of the newest Nationals. It was with the Marlins last year, Atlanta 2 years before that. Longtime Cub.
I was very impressed with how personable Commissioner Manfred was. Oh, what a nice guy. Huh?
Very impressive. Game's in good hands.
Absolutely.
Three balls, 1 strike. Just looking at Reed Johnson's numbers against Torres, 1 for 4 career. The on-deck man, if Tyler Moore can keep this moving, and it'll be out to short. Mets infield handling things with their pitcher Torres, 3 ground balls. This one into the 8th inning. New York 3, Washington 1 opening day. Somebody bring FP's coat back up to the booth. Back up to the booth.
I'll wear that.
Thank you very much.
Afraid.
It's like the stars and stripes on his shades. He's seeing stars and stripes. Top of the 8th. Max Scherzer. They never got down to his batting spot, so he's still pitching, and he fires a strike on his 90th pitch of the day. 65 in the zone. Granderson has walked twice. It was his 2-out, 4-pitch walk that led to the 6th inning disaster. One, two. Into right. Bryce Harper backtracking just a bit. That's his first touch of the day out there. On and out. Toyota Case for Kids again this year. Washington area Toyota dealers helping children and their families. It's a donation of $37, the Strasburg number, to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this year. Next up, David Wright, who hit that pop-up that resulted in the Ugla Desmond play and a crippling one for the Nats. Another one to Bryce Harper.
Masson wants to hook you up with Nationals gear to kick off the 2015 season. Visit Masson Nationals Facebook page at facebook.com/Masson Nationals to find out how you can win. Be social with Masson. It has its rewards, folks. Are you even on Facebook?
No. Was it one time for about 2 weeks, and somebody got silly and I got off.
You have an iPhone now, an iPad, and a MacBook, so we're getting closer.
We're getting closer. How much can one man take on during a calendar year?
Jim Palmer's on Twitter just saying.
That's a base hit. Shift was on. Ian Desmond, the only man on that side of the infield. And Lucas Duda, who drove in 2 runs earlier, is 2 for 4.
That's just a beautiful thing for Lucas Duda. Swing and bunt, shift on. So the Mets have 3 hits, and Lucas Duda has 2. The Nats have 3 hits, and Bryce Harper has 2.
Yeah.
Left-handed, when you have a beard, you got a chance today.
Clean base hit to right field by Michael Kadire. Bryce Harper in right field for that very reason this year. His defensive ability to go with that rocket of an arm. And the Mets have 4 hits, 2 in this inning.
It's just a throw. He just hit the cutoff man, but he got an ovation here at Nats Park. Watch the spin move and throw from Bryce Harper, and watch how hard it is and how accurate it is.
Here comes Matt Williams to get Max Scherzer, who deserved much better.
He can win a lot more games than he loses if he pitches like that every 5 days, because that was nice, and he's getting an ovation.
This crowd understands what he did today. This call to the bullpen packaged by the UPS Store. Your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics.
Excited, pumped, fired up to see the Nationals debut of Max Scherzer today, and he didn't disappoint, folks. I mean, every single pitch in the strike zone, he expanded the zone when he wanted to, reached back for 96 a few times. The base hit that Lucas Duda got to score 2 was 98, so a very impressive first start for Scherzer. And like Carp said going to break, he deserved a better fate, but hey, maybe he can spit the hook and the Nats find a way to pull this one out.
And there will be days his defense will do it for him. Xavier Cedeno, 28 years of age, 9 games for the Nats, 11 the year before. He's been the primary passenger on the Syracuse-Washington shuttle. Made the team out of spring training. Good for him. 35 games in relief at the Qs last year with 2.29. And he faces a 2-on, 2-out situation here against Daniel Murphy, whose career is 0 for 3 against him.
Fastball, slider, cut the fastball, curveball change, but pretty much fastball, slider, cutter. And that's what we've seen from Cedeno.
Murphy, 3 fly balls, 2 to center, 1 to left. 82, that one cutting in, high in the zone. Counts even. Check swing or no. Chris Siegel rings him up. Strike 2.
There was question whether Daniel Murphy was going to make the start today. He had that hamstring that he tweaked in spring training when he played some minor league games. So if he couldn't ring the bell or answer the bell, the Mets could backdate his DL stint. He's averaged 150 games, 38 doubles, 9 home runs, and 15 stolen bases since joining the Mets in 2012. Just a solid player.
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, 190 doubles his career. 75 the last 2 years put together.
And I have to say, kind of closing the book on Scherzer, Carp, I knew he was good, but that's the first time I've seen him in person.
Yeah.
He was better than I expected.
2-2.
It was like, wow, okay.
97 pitches, 71 strikes. None of the runs he gave up today were earned. Runners on the move and a bouncing ball to Ryan Zimmerman. He'll take it to the bag himself, and that's it for the Mets in the 8th. Scherzer outstanding today. Now we'll see if the offense with 6 outs to go can pull one out on opening day.
He's been doing his thing. Ian Desmond having a rough day with the glove. Max Scherzer did his thing on the mound. And I guess the story of this game has been some miscues. I don't guess, I know. And this was the biggest one. But give Lucas Duda some credit. He had a 98-mile-an-hour fastball after this to score a few runs. And that's really been the difference. You see Desmond kind of pulling up on that throw, trying to ease it over there.
Jeurys Familia. That saw a lot of this 24-year-old last year. He's a year older. He's got some experience. 76 games, 77 innings, 73 Ks for the Mets bullpen last year.
Jerry Family has a big fastball, 96 miles an hour, and he likes to use it. Throws it 75% of the time. Slider 86, an occasional changeup. But he's coming right after you, and if you're a hitter facing this guy, you have to make him throw strikes. He can be wild at times.
First Nationals appearance for Matt Dendecker, the former Met, just acquired on March 30th for Jerry Blevins, who's in the Mets bullpen today. Dendecker out of Fort Lauderdale, .238 career hitter in 80 games in parts of the last 2 years for the Mets. .250 last year with a pretty good on-base percentage of .345 in 53 ball games.
But you talk about that trade so late in camp, and Blevins going to the Mets. Dendecker coming here. It's got to be weird for him, right? First debut of the year against his old team.
Yeah, it's like walking across the diamond in between games of a doubleheader, which has been known to happen too.
You know what else you have to do because of that? If you're the Mets, you have to change your signs. You can't have the same signs you had all last year and in spring training. When you have a guy go to a new team that's in your division,
yeah,
your third base coach, you have a meeting and you have to change your signs because Dendecker knows him. It's kind of a pain. I've been there before. We know that.
And as if on cue, there's Jerry Blevins. What a good guy. We wish Jerry all the best with the Mets, except against our left-handed batters. He had a rough spring. Hopefully he can turn things around for New York. Right in there.
Pitch track likes a low strike. I'm calling Alexis pitch. 97 at the knees.
Oh, and that ball slammed Tim Wilkie right over the right shoulder of Travis d'Arnaud and rattled the cage of the home plate umpire.
Well, let's see you next month.
Wow. Looked like Travis d'Arnaud had his eyes closed, and when he heard that sound, wondering, was that me or the guy behind me?
Well, he wore it like a champ.
That was ugly. 2-2. And a little tapper. So two lefties, Dendecker and Clint Robinson on the bench. Two righties in Espinosa and Reed Johnson. And then the switch hitting backup catcher Jose Lobaton. In the dirt. d'Arnaud trying to do his umpire another favor, blocking that ball with nobody on base. Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield, $50 to support Girls on the Run DC for every walk the Nationals draw this year. They would encourage each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Bartolo Colon walked only one today, and that is right in there. A nasty running fastball from Jeurys Familia.
Yeah, a little run back piece right here. Watch where it starts, watch where it ends up. Dendecker gave up on it, came back just enough for strike three, and Dendecker knew it. Perfect pitch.
Michael Taylor, 0 for 1 career against Familia. 87, cutting right across the plate. The Nats have one hit since the fourth inning, and only 3 all day, 2 by Bryce Harper.
So even when the Mets were behind, Bartolo Colon had started to shut that door. He kept them close.
They were scuffling offensively in spring training, and you thought with Bartolo Colon in the spring he had, even though he's a veteran probably working on things, 0-3 with a 7, that today would be a great day to break out. Colon actually went to the minor league side to miss a start against the Nationals because he had faced him so much. And it turned out to work here today. It was a nice move by Terry Collins and the Mets.
Yeah. And of course Aaron Barrett you saw for the 9th. Taylor, a foul tip. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Michael Taylor's debut in center field today, 1 for 3. Base hit first time up. Fly ball, grounder since. And he's all locked up, and he's 1 for 4. Here's our next 5 that'll take us through this series and the Phillies series. The Mets are here 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Jordan Zimmerman, Jacob deGrom. The Strasburg-Harvey matchup 1 o'clock Thursday, and then on to Philadelphia. By the way, the Red Sox are at Philadelphia today for their home opener, and then we will be at Boston a week from today for the Red Sox home opener.
There's Adam LaRoche. He decided to come to the game today. Changed his hair from last year.
I'll tell you what, if Adam LaRoche ever showed up like that, Jen LaRoche would have his head.
She would.
They don't look like that in Fort Scott, Kansas.
No.
Yunel Escobar.
But maybe if he was hunting turkeys to try to camo himself out.
Hard hit, and Escobar's been unlucky today. Lined out hard to Duda last time, grounds out hard this time, and opening day is into the 9th inning, and the Nats still have a tall task. Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years. Navy Federal Credit Union. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball free and win real money. Bryce Harper watching the ball he launched, leading off the 4th inning that gave the Nats a 1-0 lead. He's 2 for 3 today. Big news in D.C. today, and if you missed it earlier, here's Dan with a recap.
But we had Commissioner Rob Manfred in our booth earlier today. The commissioner was in town in part to announce that in 2018 the Nationals will host the All-Star Game. This is something that the Lerner family is obviously very excited about. The fans very excited about it. A loud cheer when it was announced here before the game. And the Nationals players are excited about it too. Jason Worth was asked about that news earlier today. He delivered what I thought was a great quote. He said, "This is a sign to the world, to baseball, that this place is for real." You know, we've had baseball in D.C. for a decade now. The fans are really starting to embrace it a great atmosphere here today, and there are a bunch of players in the Nationals clubhouse, guys, that are excited that DC is getting recognized with an all-star game as well.
Nice. And I just had to laugh at Mark Lerner when he got up on the podium and said, and there's Aaron Barrett, first appearance of the year, within 5 to 10 minutes of when the Lerner ownership group took over in 06. They were calling Bud Selig for an all-star game. Well, it took a while, but they got it. And I know Ted and Annette and Mark and Judy and Marla and Deborah and their husbands, family, all smiles today downstairs. Great news for the city, for the franchise, for this part of the country.
I had Chris Bryant in the home run derby in 2018.
Good call. Good call. Could be in the big leagues in what, 12 days?
Yeah.
Ground ball. Ugla takes care of Juan Lagares for the first down.
Follow Nats all season long in 2015 with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. I like that the commissioner liked my idea about the president having to throw out the first pitch in D.C. every year. He liked that.
I think Congress should get a hold of that, make it the law of the land. Something they could agree on. Let's hope. By the way, you saw the crowd, 42,295. That ball's into right center. 2 hits in a row for Travis d'Arnaud. He tripled earlier to drive in Juan Lagares, who had reached on the second Desmond error. That'll bring in Wilmer Flores. Wilmer Flores now 1 for 2 career against Aaron Barrett. Or rather d'Arnaud, as Flores steps in. And there's Big John Mayberry to hit for Familia, as Terry Collins gets his bullpen set up for Henry Mejia to be the closer.
New look, Henry Mejia, too. He shaved his hair. Had a rough spring training. This game's not over.
Good away action there by Aaron Barrett. Henry Mejia.
There's a new look. You remember he had that whole hair puffing out the sides.
Yes. 28 saves for the Mets last year as a 24-year-old. Late reaction. Aaron Barrett overmatching a big league hitter right there. He'll face John Mayberry Jr. for the first time.
Yeah, 3-pitch see ya. Slider didn't do a whole lot, just enough. Kind of an emergency hack right there by Wilmer Flores, trying to stay alive. Couldn't do it.
John Mayberry Jr., 31 years of age now. He was with the Phillies and Toronto last year. 213 in Philadelphia. They let him go. Blue Jays picked him up. He was 5 out of 24 down the stretch for them. That's a good ball club that could win the American League East this year. That's a wide open division.
Yep.
A-Rod got a hit today, huh?
I still like the Orioles in that division.
Yeah.
I like their manager a lot. He might be the best in the game besides Bruce Bochy. Matt Williams
gets it done. Close, but it counts 2-1. John Mayberry Jr., 241 career hitter. His dad, Big John of the Royals. John Jr. went to Stanford, hit .312 over 3 years there. 6'6", 235. His dad was a big, imposing left-handed batter.
Much late movement on the fastball. 94 under his bat.
3, 4, 5 due up for the Nats in the bottom of the 9th. Got to keep this a 2-run game. The ball came back to the inside corner, but it was upstairs.
You overthrow the slider, you try to throw it as hard as you can. That's what happens. It backs up on you.
Runner on the move on the 3-2 pitch. Yeah, that's a foul tip.
Well, you got a sinker going like Barrett has today. You don't even have to mess around with the slider. Just keep throwing that. You know, slider has been his out pitch. It was last year. It's one of the nastier ones in the National League, but I don't remember his two-seamer running like it is today.
(3-2). Darno running again. 2 on, 2 out. It's been a rough day for some home openers. Phillies lost 8-0 to the Red Sox. Brewers lost 10-0 to the Rockies. And the Yankees lost 6-1 to the Blue Jays. And Matt Williams on his way to the mound with a talented group watching every move. That's it for Aaron Barrett, who will face 4 batters in the 9th. Give up a walk, a hit, and 1 strikeout. Further into the bullpen in the 9th inning with the Nats trying to keep this a 2-run game.
He'll be back soon. We're here in 3 weeks, so we can't wait to see Denard Span running around. But in the meantime, you can watch the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report. Returns to 90 minutes of pregame coverage. That's starting Tuesday from 5 to 6:30. You can begin your night of Nationals baseball coverage as the guys discuss the latest Nationals news. Catch players sound, manager press conferences. That's Monday through Friday all season long. And we can't wait to see Jason Worth in right field, too. Gotta get some of those hairy guys back. Too many clean-shaven cats on the field right now.
Matt Thornton, excellent for the Nats last year. In 18 games, a 0 ERA. 11 innings, 10 hits, no runs. Walked 2, struck out 8. I mean, when we were talking to some of the Yankee broadcasters the other day, they were amazed when we told them what Matt Thornton did after he came over here. They didn't know if we were talking about the same guy.
They said he had trouble getting lefties out in New York, and we said we didn't see that.
Yeah.
All we saw was 97 miles an hour on the block away to lefties. And then a slider at times. He was great for the Nats last year.
August 5th, the date of that waiver deal. 38 years of age, Matt Thornton. And he misses.
to Curtis Granderson. Granderson 0 for 2, a pair of walks, a run scored. There's that easy 93 to the outside edge. Granderson has seen Thornton a lot in the American League. Matt, most of his career with the White Sox. Granderson 4 for 24 against him. Hits it hard. Ugla picks it, and that's a big play. That keeps it a 2-run game going into the bottom of the ninth. As mentioned, number 3 is Bryce Harper. Number 4 is Ryan Zimmerman. And then right behind them, Wilson Ramos.
In 15. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight. We invite you to stick around for our Nets Extra post-game show coming up after the Nationals hopefully pull this out in the bottom of the ninth. A couple of miscues, the difference in this game, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it, Johnny. A little fly ball popped up right behind second base. Danny Ugla looked like he had a bead on it, and then Desi called him off the ball, and it falls in, and next thing you know, you get a base hit to score 2 runs.
Is that just because of unfamiliarity between the shortstop and second baseman?
It could be,
possibly,
but the sun was really prevalent at that point, and I think that Desi had a better angle. It looked like to me that Ugla wasn't struggling with it, and Desi, knowing that the wind was blowing out to right field, combination with the sun right there, I think he just became very aggressive, as he tends to do, and he normally catches that ball, but ball just kept blowing away from him. Probably Dan Ugla's ball.
Boy, Max Scherzer did everything we anticipated for opening day.
He really did, Johnny. Threw the ball exceptionally well, 98 to 93. The hardest ball he threw all day was a base hit Ugla guy at 98 miles an hour on the fastball. Located well, slider, curveball, changeup, and went a lot farther in the game than I thought he would. I was thinking they'd probably go easy with him today at 85. It shows you what kind of staffed header he is. He's used to going 8 2/3, 9 innings.
Well, as Bob said, you got the number 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up in the bottom of the ninth. Let's see if the Nats can pull it out. Let's go back upstairs to Bob at FP.
All right, Johnny, thank you. Thank you, Ray. Kind of an odd situation. Henry Mejia was up. I don't know if something happened to him in the bullpen. He's not up now. Jerry Blevins, the ex-Nat, to face Bryce Harper. It's the first time they'll face each other. Buddy Carlisle's the righty, Alex Torres the lefty. Something had to happen to Henry Mejia during his warm-up because he is their closer. Bryce Harper trying to drag a base hit to get the tying run in the batter's box.
We'll go back to the 4th inning. Bryce Harper's first home run of the year. Got a center cut fastball from Cologne, caught her out front. And then singled in the 6th inning. And you remember Bryce faced Jerry Blevins recently in spring training. I think the day after Jerry got traded, and Jerry Blevins struck him out. Maybe that's why he tried to lay down a bunt.
David Wright on the grass at third. That's way outside.
But interesting, Terry Collins is playing matchup baseball with a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And he had his closer hot, ready to come in. And something had to happen.
Yeah. There are a lot of closers in baseball today that would rather come in and start an inning against a left-handed batter than to have to come in after one batter. Harper's going to lift one, but Granderson's going to run it down.
It's a nice first game for Bryce.
It is.
Ball's crushed.
Now here comes Terry Collins to make the move to Buddy Carlisle. Hey, they have a day off tomorrow. You can do this in the first day of the season. Plus, he knows he's got Jacob deGrom and Matt Harvey throwing the next 2 games. He could just about empty the bullpen on opening day.
In him. That's fantastic. Nice going, Dad.
He looks very thoughtful. He's thinking about the Zimmerman-Carlisle matchup here. As Buddy Carlisle, who's been all over the map in his professional career, now they're going to turn and face the crowd and really get him going.
Oh, that's the shot of the day, folks. Nicely done.
That kid's going to grow up so shy.
Nats walk off the Mets. That kid's going to be famous.
Buddy Carlisle, 37 years of age. Other than 8 games in 2011 when he appeared with the Mets last year, he hadn't pitched in the big league since '09. He got people out. He's back on the ball club. Ryan Zimmerman's 2 for 5 career against him. Tell you, the Mets showing some arms today.
That fastball averages 90, throws a cutter at 86. Pretty much a 2-pitch guy.
Zimmerman late. This ball heading out of play. By the way, Buddy Carlisle has 0 major league saves.
We saw Mejia in the bullpen. We were just assuming he was coming in for the 9th.
And right now, the right-hander that's throwing, Rafael Montero. So we could see 3 Mets pitchers here. Ramos, who's next against Buddy Carlisle, 1 for 1 career. And Wilson against Montero, 0 for 2. Up the middle. Nice hop for Wilmer Flores, and the Nats are down to their final out. Game 2 Wednesday. It's a night game. Nats Extra 6:30 with Johnny and Ray. And then Jordan Zimmerman and Jacob deGrom. They'll be on Masson 2. Wilson Ramos 0 for 3. And as I mentioned, against Buddy Carlisle, 1 for 1 with a single. Trying to keep it going with Ian Desmond on deck. The Nats have been 3 hit by Colon, Torres, Familia, Blevins, and Carlisle today. That ball just foul.
But a pretty sweet play nonetheless. Wow.
Yeah, well played by David Wright.
He got an in-between hop going toward the stands, and he threw it on a fly right on the money. Watch this nasty hop he gets in between. I got that. Off balance. That's going to be on top plays, even though it didn't count.
That's the best foul ball play of the day.
It was impressive.
It was David's left rotator cuff that bothered him last year. Right arm looking fine right there. 1-1 to Wilson Ramos. And the Mets are one strike away from stealing opening day from the Nats.
Well, I know the guy on deck wants a crack at it. He would love to get up there with Wilson Ramos on.
Well, the Nats won at Citi Field on opening day last year. And that's a little bit low, 2-2. Deep short. And the Mets have returned the favor to the Nationals on opening day 2015.
Well, it's going to be a scuffle for Matt Williams' club early, and what I mean by that is they have to battle for runs until they get healthy. It's going to be like this for a minute, and we talked about it during the broadcast today. Once they get healthy, look out, but right now they're banged up, and that's the way it's going to be for a while.
Buddy Carlisle, first major league save, and the Mets put a damper on a beautiful and inspiring opening day here in D.C. with a flyover and the commissioner. 3-1 for FP and Dan. Bob Carpenter. Join us Wednesday on Masson 2 when it's game 2 of this series. Johnny and Ray, 6:30. Masson 2 will join you at 7. This has been a presentation of Masson. Nats Extra straight ahead and from the booth. So long for just a while.